back. The voice you're hearing, it's me, it's Matt, it's Beard Laws, and joining me, as always, is Brandon J. McDermott. My dude. What
Good
is
afternoon. I'm doing well, man. How are you?
up? Life's good, life's good, life's busy. Obviously you're not seeing Euban, you're not hearing Euban because, well, dad life strikes again. I was super busy at the normal time of the recording. Brandon, he's got a bunch of stuff going on tonight. Euban's chasing kids all over the place with wrestling, I think it was. Even though I think we kidded that he's going to be going around just giving people the stunner in the hallways, which I hopefully he doesn't. But this dad life, holy cow, man, it is unbelievable.
It's wild, man. It's tough to kind of put your mind around it. We're just here at home hoping and praying that the youngest, sleeps longer than 4 hours. But even then, we're trying to potty train our middle one. Our oldest one is like no longer a toddler, and it's scary as hell. Yeah. I mean, you overcome one chapter, you close one chapter, and you realize, it's the next page. This is a whole new thing.
It is
just fun and
wild.
scary.
Soon as you get comfortable into a routine, they get just old enough to switch it up and get back in there. And especially with the first time around, you don't really know what you're doing, so you're trying to adjust it. And then the second one's going to throw some curveballs, and the third one's going to make you say, why did we have you again? But it is a wonderful thing. I actually had a conversation with a coworker today who was a little bit older and has been in that empty nest syndrome for quite some time, and was telling about basketball tournaments, and he's like, enjoy it. He goes, I used to love going to all the games, being super busy, and now I just work.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that sounds like not fun.
I don't know if I'm going to mind. First of all, I'm not going to be the parent that volunteers to coach. I'm just not going to be me. But I don't think I'll have a problem with being the dad that comes to the practices and the games. I just want to make sure you're doing a sport you enjoy doing. I don't want to pay. And it's not about, I just paid $102 for you not to enjoy this. It's more of is this something you actually want to do? Are you having fun with your friends? Are you, I don't need you to become an All-American third baseman, but have fun and enjoy waking up and going to practice and such and such. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, as a guy that does coach, there's nothing worse than having athletes that just don't want to be there. And it's hard to motivate somebody, whether it's in practice, whether it's in life, whether it's a coworker. If you really don't want to do what you're doing, you're not getting 100%. You're not getting 90%. You're lucky to get 10%, sometimes 25% out of something. And it's not a good thing. And it's tough, though, especially in kids with sports, because even youth sports, you get them out there, see if you like it, just get some exercise. And there's a lot more to sports. You might not, like you said, be the All-American third baseman, but you learn a lot of stuff. Time management, how to take orders, all that stuff. And all the kids that just take the easy way out, I do feel bad, because once adversity starts to strike you as a little bit older, you can only get so many jobs, especially if you're in a small town. Once you get the reputation of, I don't want to work hard, I want more money, I don't want to do nothing, I quit. That sucks. I've seen a couple of people that have gone through a couple of times and said bigger businesses, and they'll only take you back so many times.
Yep. Nobody wants to deal with that. And you know this. I mean, once you get a reputation, it don't go anywhere. I mean, we had a guy here who ran for mayor in town, who won, who had somewhat of a weird, not weird in a naughty sense, weird in a just some mistakes he made as a younger man in business and otherwise, and in life, and that carried around with him. And he did get voted in, and he's doing a fantastic job. Great guy, good to know him and stuff. But those kinds of reputations, I mean, they stick around, and it's something you have to fight for years and years, even after you're an adult and 50 and 60 years old. So
it's a terrible thing. Plus, it's just awkward being a kid. I'm so glad I don't have to do that again. Instead, just try to make kids make good decisions. And yeah, we did some traveling, did some basketball 3 hours away one way. Good little tournament. Got to stay at a little hotel that had an arcade. It had a little bit of a water park for little kids, a couple water slides. But our kids are a little bit older now, where they were just not feeling the water park. Arcade, pretty good time. But I was kind of annoyed because this hotel, and it's all right in the same place, which is great for parents. They also got like a Perkins in there. They got a little, they call it a brewery, but they don't brew beer anymore. I don't know why they changed the name, probably for the cost of rebranding. So there's a lot for our area, you know. And then of course Burley sends me a thing where he's taking his family to this this hotel that's like a resort that has a lazy river that's the shape of the state of Texas and all this fancy stuff. It's open, it's heated. I'm like, yeah, just when I thought we were doing some cool things. But I'm gonna tell you what, my room, it stunk. There was ants in the bathroom. The toilet seat was having issues. I didn't even complain. I was just like, "Hey, any chance?" Just kind of, giving you a heads up. And then they were just kind of like jerks back to me. They overcharged me, and I'm starting to realize like a lot of these people at this hotel, they've gotten quite miserable in their last couple of years over the time being there. And I don't know if it's just they don't feel like working or what, but I'm talking to some people there, and I'm like, listen, I am not trying to get anybody in trouble, but at the same point, I mean, I feel like you would be the same way to anybody listening. You spend some good money to, take your family here, use it as a vacation or whatever and stay there, and the room just sucks and nobody wants to do anything. Like, that's frustrating
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, especially because you're trying to do the dad thing. You're trying to create memories. You're trying to have the family stuff. And then, I even sometimes I get frustrated where I'm like, I got you Taco Bell. We're eating Taco Bell for dinner. Like when I was a kid, we didn't eat Taco Bell for dinner as often as you're eating Taco Bell for dinner. You should be excited to eat Taco Bell for dinner.
Yep.
And I can't. That's the thing is you can't push your own memories and experiences on these kids and have them understand it. They don't understand that, but they have to experience it themselves, right? Like you can only truly understand how shitty a Monday is as an adult waking up and going to work to a job you hate until you are an adult waking up on a Monday going to a job you hate. Like I can't explain to you how great it is to have a woman fully just, but once it happens, like it's an amazing feeling. It's probably not as good of an explanation as the other one. I should have shut my mouth. But no, honestly, like, how do you explain to a kid that what they're getting is amazing, and not a lot of kids get that kind of happy meal on a Friday. Saturday, You're getting Taco Bell. We're eating hot dogs and mac and cheese on Sunday. And yes, don't judge me by how I feed my children. It's easy to judge.
I told the kids on the way home, I'm like, listen, we've eaten out more in this weekend than we have in a month. So don't continually expect it. And when you're on the road a little bit and you're doing these vacations, sometimes it's just nice to get home and have a decent meal. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, so the two of the three kids didn't get to play. They just kind of had to hang out. Definitely not as fun. So we kind of made it a thing like, all right, well, whatever you want to eat. You know what I mean? So where I live, you don't get a lot of options. So what do they see? They see a Panera Bread, and they were stoked. Me, not like a huge Panera Bread. I mean, it's mostly bread, mac and cheese, and some stuff that I get myself a little chocolate croissant. Damn right I did. But, they were super stoked. I wanted pizza the whole time. So not only, I feel like I pulled a Euban. Not only did we get some Panera, we got some pizza. I hit up my cousin who lives in this place. I'm like, what's the best pizza in town? He tells me Big Sal's. Not Sales, Sal's. I guess I say that funny. And I'm like, you get going to an Italian place with a guy named Big Sal? I'm hitting it up, and it was fantastic. I mean, it was good to the point where I was the only one that ate it, and it was a medium pie, so there was some big old slices, 14-inch pizza. I don't know how many slices were in there. I had two and some chicken wings. Then I just left it on the counter, brought it home, or it was in the back of the truck for the whole tournament. It was 20 degrees. That's like a natural fridge. Still had it for lunch 2 days later.
So amazing. First of all, and I got to echo what you say when you go to a place where it's like Big Sal's, and they've got like, it's a little grungy, a little run down. They got the old school red plastic baskets with the red and white checkered waxy paper. Ooh. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I didn't get to go in it though. Thankfully, I had it delivered. But yeah, I have a scene like you just painted in my picture or in my brain.
That's good stuff. It's good stuff. But I don't even remember the point I was going to make after that. Just to say that Italian food's good. There was this place in Lincoln we used to eat. I don't know if it was Big Sal's. It was something like that. It was just greasy pizza, greasy wings, real simple like garlic toast. But it was just just delicious.
I went with a pepperoni, and it wasn't overly greasy. It was just like it was spot on. And what I liked, it had like a little bit of a sweeter sauce to it. It wasn't just like you take it out of a can and just. This was good. This was fantastic. So shout out to the cuz for the hookup on that. That was good, and it was actually so good that people in the lobby, because we had a couple of people there, we're just hanging out. A couple of people in the lobby were like, "Where'd you get that? That smells amazing." I smelt it around the corner. I'm like, "Big Sal." And next thing you know, there was at least two more deliveries of it. So I'm like, "Hey, yo, should have had a promo code or something. Get a little kickback. Give me some garlic knots or something."
Yeah, you can't beat that. That's always good stuff. I did a video last week, and I wasn't trying to do a video from the station of supporting local businesses, and
Mm-hmm.
I I think one of the things that we're kind of putting into perspective now with the cost of fast food is really, we've talked about this on the show, meeting the cost of sit down food,
Yeah.
and then even meeting the cost of spending at home food,
Mm-hmm.
to where I'm willing to spend the extra $2 to $5 on a dish if it's local, if I know it's going towards, because that money is staying in my local economy more, right?
Yeah.
That money isn't going to Pizza Hut corporate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to, it's not going to Dollar General. I know we're not talking about a restaurant. Dollar General's not a restaurant, but you know what I'm saying? Like where it's
No,
going to some
but
conglomerate.
when we're around here, I mean, small towns. Sometimes you have to hit up a DG dinner. You just go get yourself a DiGiorno from DG with some mozzarella sticks, and hey, that's your dinner. But like I know, I definitely can hear that one loud and clear. And it was kind of you were saying you were making a video supporting small business, and for me, I was like, you know what? I am so glad that I am not into like the food side of it. Not that I'm not glad, but like for me, like my brain went, man, how cool would it be to do a video like this and then post it on there? One big sale gets it. I'm up here, like it's content. Like that's where I think it's great. Not only are you really good at your niche, but your niche is so large. I mean, from the memes you put out to, you could go out to eat and, have a video. But I'm like, my brain is, I don't have to, like, I don't have to. I'm kind of glad. But then the other point, like, it kind of be fun. But I was just like, and then I was like, you know what? I'm in a very small town. Like, I was like, I'm not a travel guy, but I'm in this town. Like my brain was like, man, if I did this and did this shot and did this shot, like I could do a cool video while I'm just walking because we had like 4 hours to kill in between our games. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go for a walk. So I'm just walking around this town. It's a little movie theater. There's this like historical building. There's this old like creepy haunted house. There's this church. Like there's all just this history and all of this stuff that could tie into the why we're even at this tournament, the charity that goes behind it. I'm like, I really want to do a video, and I just want to sit. I'm like, I'm addicted to making content, you know. But it's just sometimes it's hard to turn that brain off. But I'm like, with my weird niche of beards and stuff, I'm like, man, I could put all this effort in, and it's just not there. And I don't get enough to travel, but I'm like, that would be so fun to be able to travel and just do some cool videos.
I mean, that's the goal, and I apologize. I've got a kid crying in the background.
Listen, you got three of them. It's okay. We're dads. If you don't hear a kid crying every once in a while, then are the kids even at home?
I know, right? So, but that's the deal. Is that's really the goal, to be able to go to these places and stay at bed and breakfasts or stay at hotels. And I mean, I've had businesses from around the country reach out, small businesses, not big ones, that are
Yep.
like, a hotel and bed and breakfast at on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, who are like, oh, we've been here for 150 years. Come down, we'd love to have you. I'm never going to make it to New Orleans, like unless there was a friend or something that lived down there and I made it a point to. I'm not going to go someplace for just one single video, unless I'm getting paid to do it. But
I was gonna
to
say
do that
unless they
here around
visit a
town,
pretty,
it would be fun.
unless they pay a pretty penny.
Right, right. But to do that around town would be amazing, right?
Yeah, and it kind of stinks because like my town where it is, there isn't a ton of businesses. There's a couple that I do enjoy and try to support the best I can. But it'd be like, all right, I'm gonna do these small ones, and it's like okay. But at the same point, like my brain has really gone long form. Where I am addicted to the podcast, and my brain instantly went, "How can I record an episode? Can I talk to some people? Is it going to be engaging? This and that." Where, the short form, there's a lot of people doing that with the travel and stuff. And I'm like, man, I got too much going on. I don't really need to start a whole nother thing. And I think it'd be kind of confusing just to be like, oh, what's this weird dad just doing a random video of this town that he's in?
But I mean, honestly, and nowadays it sucks to think that to try to start from scratch, right? When it comes to you built a brand and it's taken you years and years to get to where you're at, but to have a Beardy tries you know upstate New York foods or small town taverns or whatever the case may be, I think that'd be fun, and
Yeah.
maybe a new YouTube channel for you.
Yeah, it'd be like I said, it's something that's always there, but then it's like, when you're already putting out a podcast episode or a longer form video 7 days a week, I'm like, something's got to go. If you add one, you got to subtract one. I feel like at some point, And then it's like you said, maybe it's a whole new YouTube, maybe it just is a new playlist, and it's like there's so much to think about, and I'm like, I don't really want to think about it, but my brain said, man, it would have been fun, but I don't travel enough, and I think it would be cool to travel more. So maybe I'll just start recording some stuff and then post some stuff together. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I did start the one with the street sign story time. That is a lot of fun. So it's like I'm traveling, but I'm not really traveling. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which is cool. And I throw out some local businesses to each of the towns there, just to show them some love, and that's a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, when I went to a restaurant here in town one of the few restaurants I actually hadn't been to, that I had heard about, and I stopped in and had lunch, and a guy came over to me and he was like, "Are you the guy from Facebook?" And it's not even like he's seen me from like my main pages or anything. He's just seen what I'm doing with the radio station. And so like he sees me stopping by some of these restaurants and trying some of these foods. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I was wondering when you were going to stop in here. Here's my menu. Why don't you try this? Next time you come in, let me know. And I want to make this for you and this and this. Dude's got a smoked brisket mac and cheese wrap.
Ooh,
Dude's got a burger with peanut butter and fried egg on it.
that's what's up.
And he's talking and going through like list by list and menu item by menu item of things that he's created on his own, and like a mad scientist crafted it. And the peanut butter can only go on at a certain temperature, so it doesn't melt and become greasy and gross and just messy, But if it's cold and it's on there, ooh, that cold peanut butter, it works somehow, right? So I mean, like that kind of stuff. That's what I live for, man. I live for these guys feeling like a business owner who's taken out $1 million plus in debt to try to make this business work, to try to put a smile on their face when they're working 80 100 hours a week. Like I can make this dude who's stressed out of his mind be happy about what he's doing. Like, let me do it. Let's do it. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, not only make him happy, but might actually make him some monies, which would be nice. That's the thing too that I kind of wish I focused on a little bit more early, was more local and try to do that. But like I said, it's when you're in a smaller niche, anyways, it's a little bit harder to really hone it in locally. But going back to what you were saying with the creations, like that's what I do when I go to a restaurant. I love to explore. Like, yeah, you can go to the same place over and over. I sometimes you have to here because there's only so many options. But when I'm traveling and I go somewhere, I always look for something on there that's so different, so unique, and something that I just can't get anywhere. Like we ate at the hotel the one night, and they had like mac and cheese melt, which was a little bit different. Obviously, mac and cheese with some cheese and a melt instead. And they had a real small, limited menu, which some people do when they don't have a lot of staff. You just have, I think they had like 3 sandwiches, 3 like bowls, like like a mac and cheese bowl, a steak bowl, stuff like that, and just a couple appetizers and stuff. So everything else was like kind of like a Reuben, some this, some this, and I was like, we'll try something a little bit different, But that when you're able to have a big food brain and have a little bit of science behind it to create some stuff that nobody else is doing, that's hard. That's got to be hard to do these days, especially with all the social medias and the at-home cooks that are creating stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that we get into this because we love people. We love what we do, whether it's beard products or food or just having a community that we don't have anywhere else. I think that's part of what we do too. But to make people smile and to know you're doing something that makes a difference, even if it's just a little difference. I mean, that's what it's all about.
It is, man. Like I said, it's like, man, part of me always wishes, why are you so addicted to podcasting when you could be making, some other forms of content? And it's just like, I don't know. I love chatting with the boys. Love doing this, and it's a good thing, especially with everything that's going on. And You know, and, as a content creator, hopefully you're not really. Thankfully, you're not having to lean into the anything with eggs in it because holy cow.
I've had local restaurants here in town who've like posted things on their Facebook of saying, "Hey, we run a diner, and the cost of every item with an egg on it is going to be plus 50 cents now."
Yeah,
Like, but I know people don't want to hear that or see that, but I do. I want to see that. I would rather, and we're going to get in the woods here, but I would rather the company, the business come through and say, here's what we're charging. The price you see on the board is what you're being charged versus, hey, we're paying our workers $2. And why don't you pay them 30% of whatever you paid to give to them as a tip? Like,
yeah.
out of here. Pay your workers, up your prices. Let me know what it costs, and I'll do it. But yeah, when you talk about the cost of eggs, it's nuts.
It's crazy because we had time to kill and we stopped in at this little coffee shop, which was kind of cool. Like it's the place where we are. It gave like a whole different vibe. Wooden panel. Like come on in, and it may be normal where you are, but where I am, it's not. There's one coffee shop, and then by a local business, which is pretty sweet. But then you got your Tim Hortons, which isn't near you, and then Dunkin' Donuts, and the national brands. And then this place, very very small town, and they had like breakfast sandwiches. They had avocado on toast, and the whole vibe was just come on, sit down, have a cup of coffee. They got all these cool concoctions like a Lucky Charm hot chocolate, white hot chocolate that the kids got, and it was like, holy cow, this is I've never had white hot chocolate. It was
Was it
fantastic, and they had like marshmallows, and it tasted like you were drinking Lucky Charms, and I'm like, that is brilliant. They had just all these flavors that I've never seen before, and they have books in there. And the oldest, she's like, I just had my dream lunch. Avocado toast is like her go-to, and they had this
really?
thing. That's like her. If she can go to a restaurant and they have a good avocado toast, like she is in heaven. And I'm like,
What do people charge for avocado toast?
I want to say, and it was like a homemade bread, so it was a bigger size piece. I want to say it was like three, four, five in that $3 to $5 range, and it was a big, thick, avocado spread with some kind of it looked like an everything seasoning on top of it. She said it was unbelievable. And I'm
See,
like, okay. And then they had this thing that I've never seen before. I'm just getting into reading a little bit more because I've heard that's really good for you. And they had this thing that was called blind date with a book. And she goes, "Oh my god, they have these!" And I'm like, "That's not really what she said or what she sounds like, but that's how I interpreted it." And they had this whole thing. I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And she goes, "You've never seen these? It's all over TikTok. You can get them in the TikTok shop. They have them on Amazon." I'm like, "What is it?" Like she's so excited. She's not explaining what it is, kind of like I'm doing right now. More or less, they wrap a book. This one was in like brown. It reminded me like when we were in school, when you had a book cover and you were poor like us and you used like a brown paper bag or something like
every
that.
time.
It was like that, but like they put like a fancy bow on it and they put like a wax stamp on it and all this stuff with a little bit of a description. So more or less, it's a book that you don't know what the book is and you buy it based on like a couple of clues on there. So you just blindly are buying a book and that's your blind date. So you have a date just to sit down, read a book and relax. So she got her avocado toast and a blind date book thing and she's like, seriously, this is the best day ever. I'm like, you nerd. Enjoy it. But like it was such a cool idea. And then somebody else on the team, the family came in. They're from Vermont, and they're like, "This is so cool! Like, we needed something like this in our small little town." And I'm like, "Cool." Do you think people would really come in? Because like, it's a great idea. Trust me, like it would be awesome. But you think people that are farmers, blue collar, that are used to going to like a gas station and getting like fill your own cup for 99 cents and a breakfast sandwich that's mass produced for like $2.99 are going to come down, read a book, go into a coffee shop, wait 5 to 10 minutes for a sandwich that's freshly made with good organic ingredients and pay like $6 or $7, and then have a fresh coffee, espresso with a frother and all the fancy stuff. No, they're not going to do that. They want a 99 cent. I like my coffee black. That's the town I live in. You
Yeah.
know people like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, what's funny is you brought up avocado toast, and I asked about it because I've only ever. I'm not a fan of avocado, but first of all, two things. First, I want to try it.
Mm-hmm.
The avocado toast. It said. I think on a good piece of bread that's toasted with some avocado, maybe some cheese on it, so a certain type of cheese, and then some everything bagel seasoning. That'd be really good. Second, have you heard of the joke about what fresh avocado tastes like?
Oh no, but I'd love to hear it.
So the joke is what can I say? There were certain words I can't say. Clearly, obviously, not ones that are disparaging to certain groups, but I don't say those words anyway. But there's a thing going around that says fresh avocado tastes like clean pecker.
Interesting.
Yeah, not pecorino cheese either, pecker.
No?
So my joke video would be, you know, my wife's making, avocado toast. Hey, honey, you want some? Yeah, sure, I'll try some. Oh, this looks good. I'll try some. Oh my God, this tastes like that. And it cuts off at.
That's a good way for dudes. Some advert. You start breaking them in. Hey, this is what it tastes like. This is what it tastes like. Just like avocado toast. You like that? I got some free avocado toast.
Honey, we don't need avocados from Mexico anymore. But we'll go. You can go down south for some avocado. Oh God, it's just a gold mine.
So much. The comment section on that would be absolutely wild as well. But speaking of toast and all that stuff, eggs. I was reading an article that was on foodandwine.com that border officials are seizing more eggs than they ever have in their life. Apparently, agencies are reporting that there's a 29% rise in attempts to bring eggs across the border, which is obviously banned because you can't bring eggs, you can't bring chicken, meat, vegetables, fruit, whether it's from U.S. to Mexico or probably even Canada. I mean, I've never really tried to bring it, which is weird because you can bring stuff from the U.S. across the Canadian border as long as you come in, declare it, and pay the taxes on it. But yeah, could you? I mean, they're saying that more than 90 people attempted to bring eggs across the border in El Paso just in January.
Jesus.
Right. And then you get
that should be number 2 on the list, right under fentanyl.
Yeah, right. Then you get people that are now trying to raise their own chickens just to have like fresh eggs, and it's going to be so much cheaper. And then you get guys like Euban that go out, and I shouldn't laugh when I say this, but gets home, has chickens. You have to get rid of the poop and all that stuff. And if you're not wearing the right stuff, you get the chicken poop can make you very, very sick. And Euban's legit. I don't know if I should say this or not, but whatever. He legit almost has lost an eye, and he has been hospitalized by what they think is something that can be caused, some kind of sickness that got into the bloodstreams and stuff like that from chicken shit. Like, of all the things that everybody, including ourselves, know Euban that could potentially get him,
I was going to say,
I would have never thought it would be the chicken shit.
I was going to say, is that like hantavirus? Like I know you can get it from mice or rats too, but
it's something like a blood, like histoplasmosis or something like that, where it can get into you, and honestly, if it goes uncured, it will legit travel to all of your organs and kill you.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So here in town, I live in a town of about 25K. I've asked you before. You said yours is what, 2-3K?
My town itself, I know there's like a city near me, but they count like the prison population and stuff like that. The town where I actually live is like 4. Right, I think the last census years and years ago was like 3,000 to 4,000.
Okay, so I live in a town of about 25K, and they allow people to have, I think, 6 chickens in their yards, like in town.
Wow.
And I don't know what the number is. Could be 6, could be 8, something like that. So like this all went down with the cost of eggs, and I, being the smart man that I am, decided to, how can I turn this into content for the station? And we reached out.
Started dressing up like Rocky in sweatpants and running through people's yards and trying to catch their chickens.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's actually brilliant. We have a chicken nabber on the road. The man stole the 23 chickens in town.
Dress up like the Hamburglar, but be the chicken burglar.
Right. So anyway, we thought to ourselves, well, we could give away live chickens on the air. How cool would that be? And then we thought to ourselves, well, we have to keep live chickens in the station, and probably don't want to do that. That's. But what we could do was we could approach a grocery store, shout out Russ's Market Hastings, and say, hey,
best potatoes in town, I heard.
We wanted potatoes, huh?
I don't know. When you said Russ's, I heard Russet.
Oh, they do. It's a great grocery store. They have a
Yep.
deli and everything. They actually do have really good mashed potatoes and gravy. I will say this. It's really
Nailed
good.
it.
And the mac and cheese. Oh, delightful.
Woo-wee.
$5 sushi boxes on Wednesdays. Oh, you can't beat it. It's great.
I can't do sushi.
Oh, it's yeah, I get it. It's all good. But we reached out to them and we were like, hey, cost of eggs is through the roof. What if we did this program called Crack the Quote? And so we list 2 quotes. I run it through Chat GPT and I say, give me a quote from a famous person in history. Winston Churchill, doesn't matter. And now give me a quote in the voice of Winston Churchill that is completely and absolutely made up. I want them indistinguishable. I don't want people to know. So I don't want it to be a well-known quote, like December 7th, 1941. Like everybody knows what that is, right?
Yep.
It's real. So, and if the person can guess it right, they get a dozen eggs. If they can guess which one is fake. And if they come into the station and they're following us on Facebook and they're following the grocery store on Facebook, they get another dozen eggs. 2 dozen eggs, $20, $25 value just for playing along. And the grocery store loved it. The people are loving it. It's a lot of fun. How can you turn something into content, right? That's what it's about.
That's a fun twist. And it's so much better than actually giving chickens away. So you don't have to go out and, spend, a couple $100 on a chicken coop and then feed was probably another $50 a month and supplements and bedding and potentially getting histoplasmosis. And I'm not going to lie to you, though. Not going to lie to you. A good, fresh chicken egg is so goddamn delicious. And in what's even more awesome, if you don't have a lot of room in your fridge, you can keep fresh eggs right on the counter for almost infinite amount of time, as long as they're still, not too hot or not too cold or whatever. You can keep them right on your counter until you wash them. Which I don't know if a lot of people know that fresh eggs, you don't put them in there as soon as you wash them. That's when you really need to start refrigerating them or whatever. But I was actually listening to a podcast today, and I was going to take their twist of this, and I wanted to ask you these questions. Apparently, I think I'm trying to think what I listened to. I think it was Two Bears, One Cave with Segura and Bert Kreischer.
Okay.
Whether you like them or not, but apparently Bert and his wife were not arguing, but having a food style debate on should it be refrigerated or not, and what you prefer. And the first one that they argued or debated over was ketchup or catsup, depending on how you should it go in the fridge or should it go right in the pantry.
Right. Are you asking me what I think?
Yeah.
So you go to any restaurant, and where do you find it? You don't find it in a refrigerator. They don't say, let me go to the refrigerator and grab it for you. There are fucking bottles on the tables that they fill up every day after close or right before opening or whatever, and it stays there. The reason why on every bottle of mustard and every bottle of ketchup and every bottle of everything, other than mayonnaise-based stuff, which clearly goes in the refrigerator, including salad dressings, the reason it says refrigerate is because when you leave it out, it doesn't go bad. It doesn't spoil. It changes the chemistry of it changes because of the temperature, and so it changes the flavor. It may change the color. It may change the texture. It may change the complexities of the depth of the flavor, but it's not going to go bad necessarily. Now, all those things I just listed, you should probably want to fucking keep your shit in a refrigerator. Like I don't want orange mustard that tastes sweet. Like I want some yellow mustard. So I don't know. In the short term, if it's going to be gone in 2 months, I don't think there's any problem with leaving the ketchup out. My wife leaves ketchup and mustard out. So
like prefers it kind of like room temperature, or just know what I mean?
You're a man who's in a relationship. Have you ever come home from work one day and like stuff's in a certain place because she's cleaned or moved things around, and then you change it, and then like you get clubbed into the back of the head, a la Toby with a pan? So you learn, right, that this is what she wants. Just it's not worth it. Just walk away.
Walk away. Yeah. See, like me, I want my ketchup, and I want it to be Heinz ketchup. We have tried to save some money. Made a terrible mistake getting some non-name. There is a difference. I mean, we've even gone as far as looking up some recipes, trying to make some ketchup. Was it pretty good? Yeah. Was it as good as Heinz in my opinion? No. And then, you know what I mean? But I personally, I love cold ketchup.
Yeah,
I want it in the fridge. So our ketchup stays in the fridge.
yeah. Cold ketchup's good. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Do you ever? One time I made my own. Are you a fan of barbecue sauce?
Oh, yeah.
Made my own barbecue sauce. And
Hmm.
the only reason I say I suggest it is because it'll make you feel like a mad scientist, first of all.
It does.
But like, you can't really go wrong with it. Like, I mean, honestly, if you get to the point where you're like, okay, this isn't as pungent as I want it to be, you add a little more Worcestershire sauce.
Hmm.
Yeah, if it's not as sweet, you add some more brown sugar or honey. If it's not as spicy as you want, then you add a little more kick of the cayenne or whatever pepper you're using to spice it up with. But it makes you feel like a mad scientist. Ooh, I'm putting mustard in barbecue sauce. you know. And then you have your own batch that's like got your face on the side. And you're like, this dad sauce, leave it alone, don't touch it.
Yep. And like you said, not only is it fun to like just make barbecue sauce, I think making like wing sauce is some of the most fun. Back when I could afford chicken wings, everything with chicken. I guess I'm just going to cut chicken out of my diet. There's got to be something else that tastes like chicken. I mean, the old saying, "No, it tastes like chicken." Well, god damn it, it doesn't cost like chicken.
Yeah, man, I don't know. That is wild. That the cost, of course, because of the bird flu and shit
Mm-hmm.
that's going on. Who knows what's going to happen? I think chicken is one of, if not the number one food in the world, number one protein consumed in the world. Let me ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see that. I mean, chicken's a pretty universal thing because you can put it in so many different ways, whether it's shredded, chopped, put it in a can, put it, everybody's favorite, the breast. And yeah, I mean, there's so many ways you can have it in tacos. You can have it on the grill. It's a
So
beautiful
no,
thing.
so chicken is number two, but because pork is number one because it's really
Uh,
popular in Asia,
yep.
China, Europe, parts of South America. Even though our Muslim friends don't eat pork, our Jewish friends don't eat pork. There's other folks that don't eat pork.
Hmm.
Pork is still number one by far, but chicken's number two.
Interesting.
I find it interesting because of chicken, you think there's not really many that I know of cultures that don't eat chicken because of religious reasons or because of, for example, folks in India don't eat beef because, they, the cattle and beef is held at a different. I apologize for my ignorance. I don't remember what religion it is, but I don't want to
We
say they
threw a bunch
worship
out
it.
there. We
But
got to be right on some.
yeah, right. And what am I doing? I got ChatGPT here. Let me just ask it.
And while you're doing that, I saw an image the other day of chickens, and it was like, here's what the average like what's the term for the chicken that when they just free roam chicken or grass fed chicken or store bought chicken or whatever how they looked before and like of an actual bird and they were like super skinny, then they got a little bit bigger, and then it showed like 2025 and it was like I'm like, yeah.
Hinduism, the Indian religion that worships and reveres cows. In Hindu culture, cows are considered sacred and symbolize nonviolence, motherhood, and prosperity. Many Hindus avoid eating beef, and in some regions, in India, slaughtering cows is illegal. The cow is associated with several deities, including Krishna, who is often depicted as a cowherd, and Kamadhenu, which I hopefully pronounced that correctly, the divine wish-fulfilling cow in Hindu mythology.
Hmm. I heard something that pretty much like Americans are one of the highest consumers of milk and how it's not really good for us at all, and it's starting to lead to a lot of problems. And then in the next article I saw it was, not drinking milk. Not enough people are drinking milk. They're drinking, what I call nut juice, the almond milk and all that other stuff, and it's actually leading to other problems because they're not. And it's like, do we drink the goddamn milk or do we not?
Right. I always laugh at that whole like, the only mammals that drink milk are humans and we only do it until we're two. You're weird. There are a lot of things that I've seen different cultures and different peoples do, from eating bugs to eating parts of animals that only God would be okay with you eating. But we accept those things because they're different cultures. My American, Midwestern, German, and God knows what else, Irish and everything else culture drinks milk with everything. Spaghetti for dinner? I'll have a glass of milk.
Oh yeah.
Hot dogs and chili dogs? A glass of milk, please. It's what we do.
Cookies, milk. We're
Yes.
gonna double down on it. Yeah.
Pizza,
With that with
milk.
that being said, I've heard people that say milk doesn't need to be refrigerated. I'm gonna refrigerate the hell out of the milk.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Now,
Well,
fresh
even
milk, I don't
Bert
know,
Kreischer's wife and I believe daughter were saying that that they
but
just leave the milk out.
they're probably drinking that oat shit. You know what I'm talking about?
I think it was actual milk. I mean, you got his wife is from the deep south, and I guess in other cultures like
Dude,
Spain and other places like that, they tend to leave milk out. But I have to imagine it's I don't know if pasteurized is the right word, but I have to let's go processed. I'm sure it's processed a lot different in other countries. Where I'm fairly certain you need
there's
to put the damn milk. If you buy, I have a very strong rule. If I buy it in a fridge section at a store or a freezer section in the store, when I get home, it's gonna go right back in the same either freezer or fridge or cooked. Maybe I'm brought up wrong, or maybe I was brought up right.
100%, 100%. Do you know? Now we talked about this before, didn't we? This is going back a couple of years.
Ooh, flashback.
Um, Pickles.
Mm-hmm.
There is a certain brand. I think this was when we talked with Toby. But pickles that are refrigerated in the store, and I can't remember what brand it is. If it's Vlasic or if it's
Clausen.
Clausen or whichever Clausen is, you're right. Whichever one it is, but you'll find one that'll be on just the on the shelves, and another one. I think the company makes them say, "Hey, look, we want these refrigerated. These need to be refrigerated." So, yeah,
It's a flashback. I remember I'm having I don't know if deja vu or flashback, whatever the right word is, but Logan and Toby getting in a very heated debate about pickles. Logan's a passionate pickle guy,
yep.
passionate about pickles and peas and everything with the letter P. I'm surprised he doesn't drink Paps.
You ever hear that George Carlin bit where he's like, "You ever had deja vu?" Where you just have this situation where you walk into a room or you just hit you and you're like, "I've been here before." What about the opposite, where you just walk in a room and you're like, "Where the am I?" He goes, "I call that Vujade." Or something like his bit's a lot better than that, but
That's pretty good. George Carlin,
just
absolute
a classic. A classic.
classic caution. What else? Food related. There was. You would think that my brain's all over the place. That I had the image ready, but if anybody wants to see this, listening to this, Google the Darth Vader bug. Apparently, they're saying that it's not only looks kind of like Darth Vader, but they're coining it and saying that it's better than lobster, and they're eating these things. And there is not a goddamn chance that I'm gonna eat it here. Oh shit! Never mind. I am prepared. I had it open. Check this thing out. You eating this thing? This is on.
No. I go ahead. Let's watch it together, but no.
I don't think it's a video. Look at this. The giant bug's head. Doesn't it kind of look like Darth Vader?
Yeah, it does. I've seen something like this where they'll cut it open and listen. It's like a giant roly poly, dude. It's a giant
Yeah,
roly poly. If you were to take an isopod, of course, what it is. If you
an
were to take it,
isopod. Yeah.
if you were to take it, cut it open, take its shell out, take whatever meat is inside, chop it up finely, and put it in a burrito, and I ate it, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But if you are sitting here right now
Ugh.
with me and you're ripping all those flakes out, I've seen people like rip the eggs out, dip them in like soy sauce, and like, yeah,
I'm not a
I
seafood
can't
guy.
do it.
That
I can't do it.
no, I'm not doing
It
that.
it just looks too much like a bug to me. And you can say the same thing about a lobster or crab. I'll give you the fact that it's a bottom feeder. It's a scavenger. It eats rotting and dead flesh. But the shit tastes like guck. God, it tastes like manna from above, dipped in butter. All right, are you kidding me? Shit tastes amazing.
And another delicacy in some other countries is the carp, which we have some carps down here. Again, it's like a bottom feeder, like a catfish, but much bigger. They have the like international carp championship, and a couple of the spots are on our river. And these people, they come up from thousands of miles away, spend thousands and thousands of dollars to catch these big old carp. And I'm telling you what, I don't know if I'm eating one. There's a lot better fish in that river that I would want to eat. Well,
Ain't doing it. Ain't happening.
I mean, if I was hungry on one of those, survival shows, I'm eating the carp. I'm eating the fish. But it
No.
turns out, I'm not on one of those yet.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
All right. I know you're a busy man. You got some stuff to do. And I just looked at the clock for the first time, and I think we got ourselves a little episode. That was fun. We got a little bit of everything from the dad life, kids screaming just to show you how wild our life is. We're scheduling, recordings. We say recordings. It's just an opportunity for the boys to sit down and catch up on some things. Cats up, maybe. Some cats up on some things. But no, I can't thank you enough, Brandon. Hopefully you're enjoying sitting in those bleachers watching kids in leotards. Isn't that what they're called? Singlets? Leotards, whatever the wrestling attire is. Yeah, and hopefully you get the dub. But either way, can't thank anybody who's still listening for whatever reason. Go buy yourself one of those Darth Vader bugs and let us know how it is. Maybe we'll send one to Brandon at the radio station. He'll cook one up and try it live on the show. You'd have
Oh
to
my
cook it up.
God. I'm looking up. Okay, no, wait. These are bugs. I'm going to try to see if we can actually buy one and get one shipped to us, how much it would cost. We'll have to take a look at that.
Oh, there we go. All right. Well, that's all we got. We'll see you next week. We'll be back. Hopefully, Euban will be back as well, and we'll see what's going on in his fridge, what leftovers he has. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Knock. Who's there? It's the podcast you adore. Stay out of my fridge. We're back, ready to explore. Gotta tell a tale, gonna make you laugh, gonna make you smile. So buckle up tight. It's gonna be a wild ride. We're diving deep into your fridge where secrets hide.